And welcome back to the Off the Clock Show. You're joined once again with hosts Shawn Gervais from the OrbisX CRM, as well as Marshall Hill from the Pints Polish Podcast, as well as hyperClean Car Care Productos. That's right, worldwide.
Don't mind me. Just eating some tilapia ceviche.
Holy Jesus, man! Look at you, all sophisticated and shit. God damn.
Well, good. One of the guys here, he cooks a lot, so we talk about food, and he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna bring you some." I'm like, "Great."
Damn, game on.
What? Look, I brought it in today, and I'm like, I've been chowing down on it. Like, it's awesome. Fresh tilapia, then all the other fun stuff that goes with it.
Holy shit. Man, that's amazing.
Got a little kick to it. So I'm gonna be enjoying some Tank 7.
Ooh, okay. Damn.
Now, Tank 7 is interesting. I had it yesterday on our episode. I love Tank 7. It's one of my all-time favorite beers. Bought the hat when I went to Boulevard.
Damn.
Love the beer because, and I confirmed with, you go around and do those tours. You ever done a beer tour?
Yeah, I did one. We had to go on like trolleys and all kinds of shit. Like we were going different places.
Yeah, those are fun.
Yeah. That was wild, man.
Those are fun. So we did that, and then we did where you can go to breweries and just tour that one brewery.
Oh, damn. Yeah.
And so then we did the Boulevard tour, and which is awesome. If you're in Kansas City, anybody in that area, definitely go check out Boulevard. Cool place. And love the story of being a craft beer maker. That then, that's how they started, and that's who they were, was craft, very specific. Yeah. Well, Tank 7 is a beer that happened by mistake.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
No way.
They messed up something inside the pump or something they were saying. I don't remember I made sure to ask the tour guide. He's like, wow, nobody's really ever asked that, but it is true. They messed up something during the brew and they were about to throw it away, but somebody tried it. And
they were like, whoa, stop.
Yeah.
Holy shit, man.
And they didn't know what else to call it. And so they said, no, it's got to be called Tank 7. That's the tank that messed up.
Oh, shit. That's wicked, man.
Isn't it?
See, look at that story. See, right
old
there.
Beer story, right?
Fuck, man. That's amazing, man. Yeah. You'd almost want to mess up sometimes in business to come up with those kind of things.
Yeah.
Man, that's wicked though. I love stories like that too, man. Like there's so many of them out there, and great businesses do a good job of telling them as well, which I think is important. There's even the most boring businesses, like I'm trying to think of something offhand that's super boring, but man, there's boring ones out there. But if you dig deep, they got some pretty cool stories. Like, well, even the Mars chocolate bars and stuff. Like it's a chocolate bar. Like how interesting could that get? But man, the founder, like there was one Christmas, they had messed something up. There was like a wrapper or something that was misaligned or something on the shipment that was supposed to go out. And he basically assembled everybody together, got them all together. And he said, no, listen, he says, I know it's Christmas Day, but we're all meeting up. And he had flown in and he said, this is not the kind of thing that leaves our facility. So he said, redo the whole batch. So they redid everything. And, anyway, I'm butchering the story, but there was more to it than that. But they broke that down. And it came to be part of their whole quality control side of things, and how much like everyone, even from the top down, cares about like the full presentation of things and what their customers expect. And it's just these random little stories, that they all become part of company. But any company, no matter what you're doing, you might think, oh, I'm just cleaning cars, I'm just detailing cars, whatever. But guaranteed, you've got some stuff that happens. You've got your own Tank 7. That's man, that's wicked though.
It's cool, isn't it?
Yeah, that's super cool. Me drinking something less exciting, but still cool. So this is a vodka. It's a bison one.
We're talking about that one's even more exciting.
Zubrauka.
Yeah.
I'm probably butchering that, but bison grass, and inside
is part of the bison's testicle. It's
part
crazy.
Of the bison's testicle, part of the scrot. Yeah, right there. No, like I said earlier, I think it's I don't know. It's supposedly the bison grass, but you might be right. It might be just the part that tightens up when he gets when he sees a female.
How's it feel to be drinking bison?
It's got a kick to it. It's I want to say it's smooth, but that's probably not. It's actually delicious, and but they've got a cool story too. As I told you before, they they market themselves in a different way. There's a lot of
Bison
vodkas.
pissed on this grass. We put it in for you. That's their story.
Exactly. That's what gives it the kind of yellow tinge.
Oh God.
But man, it gets the job done. That's it. Jesus. Oh man. It is delicious. But I like vodkas. I wouldn't say I'm a connoisseur. Like I can't tell the difference between, if I was blindfolded, I couldn't be like, oh yeah, that's that's Grey Goose, and oh that's I'm not to that level by any means. However, I'm not a huge fan of some vodkas because of the almost like clinical tasting. Like it almost just too much the alcohol taste. It's like isopropyl alcohol or something, just right down the hatch. But these guys took a different approach, and so they have like an infused one. Oh, this is all in French because it was from the Gatineau side. I can't read this properly, but vodka amortissé. I don't know. It's what is it in English? Where it's like aromatic, where it's the smells and the scents and stuff. So it's infused. That's what it is. Infused. My last name is French, but I don't speak French. So it's infused, and it gives it a really nice taste. But they market it to a very specific demographic, and they don't focus on their price points or anything like that. They more just focus on the story behind it, why they make it, their purpose, who it's for, so on and so forth. And so because of that, hugely successful. They sell thousands and thousands of bottles of this stuff. But it's all because of the demographic they're going after and the story behind it. And it's not a mess up, or maybe it is a mess up. Maybe some guy was making a batch and a bison, took a healthy piss in his batch. I have no idea. So it's maybe not the same story as Tank 7, but it's unique. And I find that there's certain industries where you can draw a lot of inspiration from. And a great one, like ever since I was a kid, my mom, she was always in business. And then when I started my first businesses, she always told me, she said, follow certain industries and look for their inspiration. She said, like, car companies traditionally are horrible at ads. They've gotten a lot better, but they're not as good as like beer companies. Beer companies have some phenomenal ones.
Well, because they can't drink during them, so they have to put you in some type of right. They have
to. Yeah,
they're forced into it.
Yeah, this is true. This is true. And so for those reasons, but that's where if you follow certain industries, you can get a lot of inspiration. You can kind of tweak that for your own marketing and strategies. And so that's what we try and do. It's a fine line, I find, between getting the information across and comedy. It's like, think of your best teachers you ever had in school. They were probably slightly funny here and there, but then they also delivered good content effectively, quickly, in ways you could digest it. The bad teachers were the ones that were just, monotone. It was like they were reading from a script and just delivering the information. Like that's what I see out there a lot, is ads that are like that. It'll just be a massive like car detailing, and then like clean wheels, clean steering wheel, clean this, clean that. And I'm like, fuck, man, I assume if you're cleaning the car, you're cleaning all that stuff. You know what I mean? Like, relax. And so I find that that's what's out there, though, is just these like bullet points. And then people will say things like, oh, my ads aren't working well or something like that. And I'm like, yeah, of course not. They're garbage, And so you're going to do a lot better. There was one I saw recently, actually. Hats off to this guy, Timothy. He's a member of the group as well. He took a before and after of 2 steering wheels. One was clean and the other one was just filthy, right? And just by looking at it, I knew too. I was like, that's got to be like an 06 Camry. Just by looking at it, I just knew. And you look at the steering wheel, and he just made it clean. And his headline for his ad was "Human beings are gross." That's how he started it. He's like, think about all the germs on your hands, And he's like, we can wipe away years of gross. And I was like, fuck, man, hats off, man. That's it. Like, the ad mentioned nothing about like I'm getting my wheels cleaned, nothing about the shine or the sparkle I'm gonna have, none of that stuff. You know what I mean? It just focused on a very specific problem that everyone that touches a steering wheel is gonna have. You know what I mean? Like, I've seen people in traffic picking their nose, and I'm like, see, that's why I don't like buying used cars. that's the reason.
So then here's the rub, right? And I know you were going to bring one before the other, but let's just go into it because I couldn't wait. So here's the rub with that and you're right, is absolutely an incredible way of marketing, telling the story of dirty to clean.
Mm-hmm.
you got this other question. What was the other question? So we make sure we get it right.
Has anyone else branded themselves? It was from another OrbisX member, branded themselves as the most expensive shop in town. And so specifically in this case, the most expensive, hold on, I'll get to
So great, right?
Oh,
How
no,
do you
just most expensive shop in the area. Yep.
brand yourself the most expensive shop in the area?
Mhm.
And then let's take a look at, I know these are two different people, so I just want to take different look at the spectrum, which is why I wanted to do it, right? So
smart, yeah.
it is great marketing to tell that story of dirty to clean.
Yeah.
Absolutely. How do you brand yourself as being the most expensive? Well, you don't talk to people who have dirty steering wheels. Let's start there.
That's a very good point.
If you got flies in your business, it's because your marketing's a pile of. So if I've got people coming in and we hear this nonstop about, oh man, people's cars, oh man, these people are nasty. Like, oh man, I spent, right? And it's all this over marketing and talking to people with nasty, dirty. Listen, we've had people here inside of our group at hyperClean, inside of our community, of having a customer that, for 2 months didn't wash their car. And then wondered why, once they did wash it, why the coating allowed some stuff to happen. Like, dude, you abused. Neglect is a form of abuse. So you just go to that guy that had that as a customer and go, how'd you get that customer? Oh, well, I was at work and, we have all these problems here at work. And so, I sold them a coating. Sold them a coating. They abused it, thought they could get whatever. And it's like, how do you get customers that give you crap? How do you give customers that don't understand? Do you want customers with dirty steering wheels? Right? Like a lot of the problems that we see arise later, and we'll hear people complaining about things. You look back and you go, well, you attracted that customer to your business by having a dirty steering wheel, by going to the person who has the nasty car and saying, hey, I can coat it and it will be magically cured for X amount of time.
Yeah.
Right? Like, how do we get there?
Yeah.
So
it all goes back to what you're putting out there is what you're going to get right back. It's a boomerang, right? Throw it out there, comes right back. Now, I will say at my shop, I absolutely love the dirty cars. Oh my God. First off, there's so many more of them. That's one thing I love because we're high volume shop. But that being said, we are very strategic with our other services. I know that guy, we're going to have a hard time. The guy with the 06 Camry, we're going to have a hard time selling him on like paint protection film for his vehicle. You know what I mean?
And I'm right. I used to have a car wash. I'm a volume guy myself. Most people that are in detailing though, they don't want to be volume, right?
Spend whole day on a car. It's perfect. It's true. There are different segments, and that's where for those guys, if they're doing the same type of ads they see elsewhere, you're going to attract those kind of customers, and you're literally building the business you don't want.
Bingo. The steering wheel guy is what you should do.
1000%. That's why I fell in love with it. I was like, I'm using that. Like
what the guy in a shop with maybe one person or two people, which is really a great level for many of the listeners and 100%. Much of the industry to even have a team member, right?
Yeah, it's
two
true.
Team members. Yeah. Those people are still not, you really aren't trying to go after people with dirty steering wheels.
No, definitely not. Yeah. It's true. No, you're absolutely right. They want and as they should, they want the maintenance client. They want the guy that's going to see them all the time. The guy that even when he first brought the vehicle, it wasn't in that bad shape, and now you just maintain.
And or they're not dirty. There's a class of people that just aren't dirty. It's hard to understand.
I was trying not to go there.
It's hard to understand because most of us go look inside of our cars. And I'm pointing, right? I got all fingers pointed right at me. I have customers that I've never understood. I won't see their car for a week, 2 weeks. And I'm like, did you, how, I could barely even see anything on here, but they're like, yeah, I drove it every day. I'm like, there's just some people that is weird. They just don't attract dirt.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know. Like,
It's true though.
I do. And my floorboard, you can tell.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know why, right?
Yeah, it's
I
true.
think there's part of, and you're going after this question. Let's transition over to that question. How do I brand myself as the most expensive shop? We'll get into the actual dynamic of that question, but let me say this for a second. You got to think about, and this will be part of when I go into my talk later about thinking or envisioning and dreaming and all that. Like, who is the person that you really want? You want somebody that actually isn't, they value clean. Like part of themselves is clean, not dirty.
Yeah.
Like you don't want your own self as a customer.
Yeah.
You don't. We're dirty, most of us, right? Like
Yeah.
find the guy that is exceptionally pristine and clean and believes in cleanliness, whether that's clean, around the hair, right? It could be different
There are
things.
signs.
Yep.
There are
There's
definitely signs.
watches, there's cars, but it's not just a type of car. It's not just, could be to your point where we talked about clothing. It might not be necessarily just a brand. It could be the way that they look in the brand, the cleanliness of them.
Yeah.
You can find, and I love finding people from other parts of the country that, we'll see here in Oklahoma. California people have a different look than we do. And even if they're dressing in all black and gray and running that style of, this look, there's certain parts of some of them, right? You can just tell.
Yeah.
Right? Some are, and then some you go, okay, all right. It's got this press. This is clean. All right. And you can kind of start looking at the way people dress themselves to understand what level they are in, what their mind is thinking.
That's true. Yeah.
Those are the people you want to attract. So go to that question of most expensive. What is the problem with trying to say most expensive?
The most expensive. Yeah. My issue with it is, and first off, great to be thinking about your business. Let me start there. Great to be thinking about how can I change my business? Because obviously, this person, I know he's in the group and he listens as well, which is great. I think it's great to take some time to think about your business and say, is it what I want it to be? And if it's not, start to think outside the box or start to even just think about where do I want it to go. So that's a great step in the right direction. My issue with the most expensive side is it puts too much focus on the price and no focus at all on the value that you're bringing to the customer or anything like that. And so
let me throw this word instead of value: quality.
Quality. There you go. Yeah, the quality, because I would rather, if I was like for our ceramic and PPF stuff, for example, we go after more quality customers.
Bingo.
That's what we want.
The steering wheel guy wants value.
Yes, he wants value.
That's upper people, it's not value, it's quality.
Yes, exactly. And so to get those quality customers, we have to present the quality. Most of them aren't even too concerned with price. So we have a store here in Nordstrom. I did a sort of little test.
Like the clothing line? Nordstrom?
Yeah, of course.
Hell yeah. I haven't worn Nordstrom in a long time. I used to love Nordstrom.
Oh yeah, man. High quality clothing. Very high quality clothing. And the people that shop there, it's not just your average person, right? So I took a day, threw on my Auto World shirt, went outside of there with a clipboard because it's just in the mall. So I'm allowed to just stand there. And as long as I'm not there all day, I'm not going to get, like booted out or something. And I just waited for people to come out. And I said, hey, need 10 seconds of your time. We're doing a quick survey. We have a detail shop that's about 6 or 7 miles down the road. And we're just curious about, the type of shoppers that we have in the mall today. I have 3 questions. I asked them 3 questions. Number 1 was, what kind of car do you drive? Second one was, what would you rather? And it was golf, scuba diving, or puzzles. And I know that might sound crazy to throw that out there, but there was a reason later for our ads. And then the third question was, married or single? That was it. We asked those 3 questions. I already knew gender and I guessed kind of at the age, right? So I didn't have to waste time like, and how old are you, sir? You know what I mean?
Nobody wants to answer that anyway.
Exactly. And the less personal things, especially because there was actually a lot of females that were shopping there for their husbands, right?
No, they don't. No.
So what'd you say?
I said, yeah, and they definitely don't want to be
Oh
asked
yeah,
about
they
age.
definitely,
Yeah.
no. That's yeah. If anything, in those instances, just because I'm like a personable guy, I would make jokes. I'd be like, and under age 26. Because it was usually women, like 45 plus that were shopping there for their husbands, things like that. But the results were pretty interesting, and surprisingly, we changed a lot of our ads with the imagery that we use for certain things based on those surveys I did. It wasn't just there. I went to a few other stores and hung out there as well, things like that. But interestingly enough, as much as I don't like this particular brand of vehicle, Audi was the most common result back. And, probably had to do with a bunch of factors, but for whatever reason, that's what it was. And so, determined based on that, the majority were SUVs. There was no surprise there really. But it was an interesting experiment to do, and it was those kind of people. They were sold the quality from even the car that they drove, from the clothing that they were buying. Like shit, man. Some of the scarves there, like just a scarf, $600 sometimes. You know what I mean? Like it's you're getting a certain kind of clientele there, but it doesn't mean they're all driving Lambos. So if we were to go put out a bunch of ads now with Lambos, we weren't going to get those clients. If we were to put a bunch of dirty cars with dirty steering wheels, we weren't going to get those clients, because that client is going to be how you described it, where their car, after even a month, is probably going to just have a little bit of dirt in it. It's going to look almost like when it left your shop last time, but they're still going to want to clean. To them, it's going to feel different, right? So they're coming for a different thing. But most of them, it was targeting for ceramic coatings, PPF, things like that. But it goes back to do you want to be the most expensive? For those other services, we weren't the cheapest in town. We don't want to be the cheapest in town for those services, because it's a different style of service. For the guys that are coming in volume, they just want their car's filthy. Those guys, all we have to do is sell them on the steering wheel, because literally, if we clean their steering wheel and send them home, they're going to be happy as shit, because it's so much better than what it was before. But it's not going to work for those, the people that were shopping at Nordstrom. It's just not going to work. They're looking for something different. And that's where I would stay away from focusing on the price side. Just like I wouldn't push yourselves as being the cheapest, I also wouldn't push yourselves as being the most expensive. I would say you're getting the best quality from the best team that's out there. And I would limit it into that sort of realm whenever I'm putting out my marketing.
So what is brand?
For me, everything in your business, really.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Let's stop there, because
Sure.
I'm with you. Branding is how you're known. So how you're known is done by everything in your business.
Yeah.
This is always the fun part, right? Like, I want to be this, but I don't really want to do this. Let me break it down.
All right.
I want to be branded as the most expensive, and I don't know this guy. I don't know his shelf, but I imagine if I look in his cabinet, I imagine he doesn't have all high quality products on his shelf. Now, maybe he and some others will go, oh, but and they'll fill in the blank. I use this because I can get it in 5 gallons, and and then what are they going to say? Because then it's the better price, right? Then it's the better. It's never the best quality.
Yeah.
You're always wanting, okay, I can go, and they'll start it. This is what's fun to joke around about and have a laugh, right? Love these YouTubers, these social media guys. I'm going to Walmart and I'm going to tell you what not to buy. Right? To the next level of, hey, I'm using this company that, their dad started it making car wash products, and then they just had to sell because they actually didn't have any money. And, we use them and we love them. Oh, because you buy it in 5 gallons? Yeah, they're professional.
Yeah.
Are they?
It comes in quantity, not quality.
It's quantity. I'm pretty sure this company just had to sell. So
exactly. Yeah.
Are we sure about they are great for the detailer? They are probably a car wash brand for the people that want to be in the steering wheel group.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay? Yeah.
All good. Not all good.
Oh yeah, the stuff we use on those cars at our shop, it's not top shelf. That's for sure. But it's stuff that gets the job done. But then we do have stuff like we have some guys that come in, literally in front of them, we open a brand new pack of microfibers. because that's what they want. And that's what they know us for, and they come in, and then we're like, oh, and which color would you like today? Da, da, da. And we have the blue ones, the yellow ones, and they choose, and they'll open it up right there. There's something that comes with that for them. They're like, oh, this has never touched another surface before.
There's something that translates to high quality people, and they just
Yeah,
know it without even having to say anything. They can
yeah,
look at you,
yeah,
off of the way you're, not the brand, just the way you're dressed, your
yep,
cleanliness, then the products that you use,
yeah,
right? Now they go, oh, people don't know the names, and I agree. Most people don't know names of products, and it's not about that.
mhm,
It's once they talk to you about things, right?
yeah,
That comes out in your subconscious, comes out in the way you talk, right?
yeah.
Comes out in the nonverbal communication that
I
you
was
give
about to
off.
say that one actually, because especially if you're using products that you know aren't top shelf, you likely aren't gonna even mention anything about them, and so it's a void in the conversation, you know.
Bingo.
Versus if it is something you know, it's going to be something that's mentioned.
And the story
Mm.
isn't, hey, yeah, and we use da da da, right? Because that's where we go back to that part about, hey, most people don't know
The
brands and they
bullet
don't
list,
know,
yeah,
right? Like, but there's a reason, right? There's a reason I buy craft beer,
mm.
right? I value somebody taking the time to be more specific around an ale, and
Yeah,
around a hop. They can take these different hops and make this different flavor. The big
yeah,
guys don't do that. They don't craft it out. It's more
yeah,
volume and price.
exactly.
So
Standardized, just pump it out, whatever. Yeah,
having something like that that somebody sees with you, right? Association of your belief system.
yeah,
High quality people will pick this stuff out subconsciously because it's
mm.
the way they are. So,
Yeah,
stuff that you wear, it's the products that you use because you're going to talk about them in a way of telling the story of why you believe in craft products and what they
yeah,
do for this customer's vehicle while you use them. And then it's also then the combination of
yeah,
communication that comes from OrbisX, the dialogues that go back and forth from the customer to AI can a lot of times then talk back and forth for you, or address, hey, we got this opening coming up. We know that you have this type of car and we haven't seen you in X amount of time. This is your spot to be able to go in. What does
it's true.
all that together do? It doesn't talk to steering wheel guy.
Yeah, it's
Talks
true.
to the Audi guy, who then goes in to be the Porsche guy, and whose wife has a Mercedes.
Yep,
Now you can kind of
exactly.
start to see it go together.
Yeah,
You become the most expensive. It's not about being the most expensive. It's about putting together your whole brand is
yeah.
quality.
The entire image. You know, it's a funny thing because so our printing shop, we print a shit ton of business cards. And I hear the same thing from people all the time. Oh, yeah, but who uses business cards anymore? And the thing is this, right? I know 99% of customers that you hand a business card to, they're going to do what? Toss it away. Some of them might cut it up and use it for the filter on a joint. Who knows? But reality is, it's likely not going in their Rolodex. Okay. Let's just be honest.
We don't have
However,
Rolodexes anymore.
yeah, this is my point exactly because people toss them. But here's the thing: we still give out cards, and the reason is because we get really high quality printed cards. Okay, even to the cheap guys, we give it to them because most of them, at some point, will change because a lot of them they're younger people that at our shop anyways. I don't know what your demographic is, other people's shops, but we know like we get a lot of Uber drivers, a lot of students, things like that. They come in. Eventually, one of them might become somebody. They might be someone that shops at Nordstrom and marries someone and buys an Audi. Who knows, right? But the point is, every customer that comes in, we give them a business card, but it's a really nice feeling, high quality business card. We know they're going to toss it, but it's one element of our entire brand. So we create that quality feel in every step that we do. Same thing why, we mark down people's birthdays and then we send them something on their birthday. We call them. It's all these little steps that we do for certain tiers of clients because we don't do it for everybody. We definitely look at our customer list and we take a look at who we should send a birthday gift to, or maybe that one's just a phone call, who knows. But my point is that we have all these touch points with customers that create that expensive feel by building the quality. And so we don't have to mention anything about price. We don't have to let them know that it's more luxurious than some other shop, or it's more this or more that. We don't have to do any of that stuff, but we put the focus where it's needed. And so, like I've said this many times, our shop floors haven't been done since we took over the building. No intention of doing them. Customers don't go back there. I don't really care what it looks like back there. We focus on all the other finer touches, the chocolate on the pillow, that kind of stuff, because that's all those little, points and interactions with the customer. That's what makes a big difference. Like OrbisX is an amazing product on its own. But what makes it truly amazing is when people have the interactions with myself or with Calvin or with Jeff, and they have these interactions and all these little touch points. That's what creates the whole brand. And people are like, holy shit, like this is amazing. I got customer service at 2 a.m. or, oh man, I asked for something and the next morning Shawn put it in. It's all those little things that make people realize the quality of the whole product. It's not just, oh, here's a product I just sell to the masses. It's so much more than that. And that's what you can do with your own, detailing shop as well, is you can create that value in a positive direction, not value as in we're the most economical. So I think it's good to look at things in terms of I need to make a change, but I think trying to be the most expensive, and there was probably just a starting point, I'm sure, for a conversation, deeper conversation. But I think that definitely, if it was me and I was trying to restructure things, I would focus, just like you said, more on building that quality and getting that message across to customers. And then you're going to end up becoming the most expensive shop in town, because your customers are gonna, you're gonna have so much demand from high quality customers. Delivering that quality is going to cost more for them in order to get a booking with you, basically. So that's, price yourself into the market in the positive way. I was trying to think of a good way to word that. But yeah, I think that that's key though. And so I'm going to jump into something real quick, because I'm listening to a lot of some YouTube stuff. I went down a whole rabbit hole. Holy shit. I went down this rabbit hole that started with blue LED lights and how we invented those, or how they were invented by this Japanese guy. And he spent an entire year after he got laid off. He spent a whole year working on it and persevered every day, just got up and he worked on it from like 6 a.m. He had breakfast, and then he worked on it till 11 p.m. at night for an entire year straight. And he finally had some breakthroughs, went to his boss and said, hey, listen, I want to come back and restart this project. I know all the other companies in the world bailed on making a blue LED. They wasted millions and millions of dollars. I feel like we can, do this now. So he convinced his boss to give him a cash injection. He bought some equipment and he spent significant more time doing it. Finally he made it, and that's why we have all these wonderful things like TV screens and cell phones and all this kind of stuff that have all these different colors, because it opened up the spectrum.
What was it before?
Yes, I did. Yeah. And so he crushed it. But anyway.
No, what was it before?
Oh, what was it before? Oh, yeah. Sorry, my bad.
So people that, because a lot of people that are listening, they're of an age that they're going to go, oh yeah. I mean, what, I'm not sure.
Like, whatever. So we made
blue LED. I mean, what the fuck? Like,
so we've all heard of RGB, or most of us should have, right? So we've got red, blue, green, right?
That's old school connectivities of like your Xbox or your PS5.
All that stuff.
PS5 even comes with those anymore. There's some TVs that still do have that RGB.
Yeah,
but they're becoming very few and far between.
Exactly. And so that was the only way we could make all the different colors in the spectrum, right? Prior to that, we only had the red and the green. So old electronics, like from back in the day, like when I was a kid, when you were a kid, if you turn it on, it was always like a little red light that turned on. Never a different color, always just a red light.
And so computers back in the day were
same thing, monocolor. Yeah, just one color, and that was it. That's all we had. There was no fancy nothing,
Did you have the floppy disk? Are you?
Oh yeah, of course, yeah, man.
Okay, you're old enough for the floppy disk.
Yep, had the floppies, and then they went to the smaller one, the hard ones, the zip drives and shit. Oh yeah. Of course.
That was back at Oregon Trail, and there was this like pixelated like character that would go around with this. Yeah, I don't know.
Jeez,
Oregon Trail. Absolute best. Somebody's
Yeah,
got to
yeah.
remake that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. When I was, what was I, maybe 14, maybe 12 or 14, around there, my dad, he had an Apple IIe and he was doing some programming stuff. And then he was teaching me at the time how to build this like game. I say game, but it was one of those like you'd use the arrow keys. And so it was like, do you want to go left or right? You'd be like,
Yep.
right. And then it would have another sentence and it was like, you've encountered a bear. And you're like,
Exactly.
you know,
This is Oregon Trail.
oh, that's what it was. Oh shit. Okay. So
That,
that's
yeah, that's
exactly
exactly what you did. And it was
okay.
this like extremely pixelated block, right? Whether it was,
Man.
it could be a character, it could be, if you got that little, whatever that thing that they pulled behind horses or whatever. I don't
Oh,
know.
the
The schooner. We call them schooners here because of the
schooner?
Sooners.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I
It's
don't
got a
know.
name, but I don't know what. Yeah.
Oh,
Horse
geez.
and trolley? Buggy? No.
Then we got what, Atari, and you could
Yeah.
go to a little bit more.
Bong. Bunk. Bunk.
But still only the same color, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And then was it Pitfall, where you would
Pitfall.
jump and grab onto that digitized rope and go over like the
Oh
alligators?
shit, yeah. Oh my God. That's wild, man. Holy shit. Okay, that's going back now. But
So yeah, but it was
damn.
I
But same
saw it as
thing.
orange, but it was probably what, red?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, okay. Do you see some colors like
Oh,
I think we talked about
massively.
that before.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
okay. Yeah, yeah.
I have qualities in my gift that are great, and then other qualities in my mind that I'm like, yeah, colorblind,
Ah.
all this other stuff that goes on, and it's like, huh. But yeah, I always thought it was
Yeah,
orange, but yeah, it's
yeah,
probably red.
yeah. But exactly, but it was all like monocolor, just one, that was it. And so there was a huge race at the time to make blue LEDs. And everyone knew like if we open this up, it's going to transform the industries in ways you can't even imagine. And industries, plural, like think of it, everything gets impacted, right? And so sure enough, this guy works tirelessly on it. He makes a blue LED, but it's not super powerful. So he's like, okay, we gotta, fine tune it, stuff like that. But that's gonna cost money. So convinces his boss. They finally make it, and man, they paid him like $158 for the patent or something like that. But he got to keep his job, and he was making like 60,000 a year, so he was really happy.
158 bucks for the patent?
Yeah. And then they went on to do like $20 billion in 3 years or something like that, something ridiculous. And anyway, so he sued and he said, I wanted more money. So he sued for like 20 million. They ended up settling for 8 million after like a year and a half of court battles. And it barely covered his legal fees. So he ended up basically with nothing again, but he did get the recognition and notoriety that he was the guy. Excuse me. So that was a plus because it led him into further job opportunities where he continued that stuff. They improved it. Working with another company, they ended up doing like $100 billion or something. Then they made UV ones as well, which can do like kill viruses and all kinds of crazy stuff. So you got to think like how many industries would have been impacted by this? Like everything from man, you got LED TVs, like everything, right? And it all
To
stems
air
from
purifiers, when you say that, is
yeah,
air purifiers, you've got either it's built in or a button that shoots a UV light that's supposed to help kill bacteria.
exactly, yeah, and man, it's in everything. Like I've got one in my truck. If the vents detect there's like smog or pollution or something in the air, the vents will shut, and then it runs UV light and kills anything that might come in the cabin. You know
That's
what I mean?
awesome.
Like it's fucking wild, but it's all thanks to this Japanese guy, who didn't really get too much recognition. However, he was relentless, perseverance, as we've talked about before. That was one of your words on a previous episode, how to persevere and not give up. But all of this to say, I went down this whole rabbit hole and it got me thinking about human beings and their relationships with failure. And when we go to school, like when we're kids, right? You try so much shit. You jump off this or you touch that, see how it feels, or you're not scared to try things. You just do stuff. And so those are probably your most innovative years, really. You're learning how to walk, learning how to talk. Like those are massive skills. You know what I mean? And so you're learning all these things, and it's because you're just trying things. You're not scared to fail. You're just like failure is just part of the process, right? But then we go to school and they indoctrinate us and they put us in the mindset of, you have to be reliably functional. You have to, like your worth is now determined by how few
You have to be
mistakes
able to
you make.
process this data and
Exactly. And do
yeah.
it without error,
Mhm.
And so your whole life, your whole value becomes I have to do this and I have to do it this way. And that's why I think we see in this industry a lot of people that they buy into these things, like they buy into territories or they buy into a brand where it's this is the way that things have to be done this way, and you got to follow these steps and these rules and everything, and you can't break them, and you got to, yep, it's a lifetime coding, and just roll with it. And there's no fucking critical thinking anymore because people are so scared to fail that they're just putting their success in someone else's hands, and they're like, oh yeah, their plan's going to work because they see them as successful or something, so let me just follow that train like a pack of sheep or something. And I think we have to really take a deep look at our relationship with failure, because if we don't, you're at risk of just being complacent. And like even this guy here that we just talked about, he's looking at his business and he's like, how can I change my business to be possibly the most expensive in town? That could ultimately maybe lead to failure. A lot of
And
other
it's
people
awesome that he at least is thinking, how do
100%.
I get, he needs something.
Yes,
So he's going,
exactly.
how do I get that?
Exactly. And so, you have to take risks. You have to try and fail. And that's what makes us true entrepreneurs, right? And
But isn't that,
so,
to your point, in a sense, is how many people would go and try and start something, and he's trying to start something and then run into some roadblocks down the road, and
yeah, I feel like that didn't work
because
out.
I didn't make an A, I didn't make a B.
Mm-hmm.
To your point about schooling and the way we're almost in a sense groomed by then, not only just schooling, but then these other companies and the way people are doing it. Like, there is a part of society that is, hey, just do the, if you do this,
Yeah.
this and this, you'll be good. Listen,
Yeah.
you find that in religion.
Ah, that's true.
You
Yeah.
don't want to go there, do you? But hey, we're off the clock, might as well.
Hey, okay.
I mean, if you perform these things,
Then, yeah, you're paved your way to heaven,
yeah,
and it's,
fire insurance.
yeah, it's true. And that's where I think that being self-employed, being an entrepreneur, being in business, involves a lot of risk, but I think it's more calculated risk a lot of the time. And sometimes that calculation needs to be, what have I got to lose if I do go all in on this? Like when I started OrbisX, there were hundreds of CRMs already, hundreds of them. Now there's even fucking thousands of them. You know what I mean? Are they all good? No. Do they all do what OrbisX does? No, absolutely not. People told me in the beginning, what are you doing? Just use, XYZ and then merge it with this platform and that platform and this and that. And I was, holy shit. And if I had listened to them, our shop wouldn't have grown to the level it did. I guarantee it. But I said, no, you know what? I'm going to lock myself in a room. I'm going to build this, even though everyone's telling me I'm crazy, and I'm just going to do it. And then there you go. And there were some failures along the way. Absolutely. There were some mess ups or slip ups. Yeah, of course, things happen, but that's why I've been able to surpass a lot of the other industry specific CRMs, is because I didn't play it safe. I said, no, let me think outside the box and just go for it. And we do the same at our shop, though. So we got this new guy, Will, great guy. He started, and we've got him doing random shit because even though we have certain bays and we have people that specialize in certain things, we want to make sure that everybody can do at least a decent job of every one of our services. Because if someone calls in sick or someone gets fired or someone, one of our guys, unfortunately, his son had to have a heart surgery, and we had to fly him to Toronto and stuff. And so while he was gone, people had to fill his shoes, and so it was last minute, unexpected, not his fault. Someone had the jobs still have to get done. So we had to have other people fill his shoes. So because we've allowed people to make mistakes, they're able to do it. So like 2 days ago, Will changed a windshield, first time in his life. Never did it before. Now, did we let him do it alone? Absolutely fucking not. You know what I mean? He worked with people, but we had him work with our other techs so he can learn how to do it. And the only way to really do that, I can't get him to sit down and watch a movie or a documentary like this is how you change a windshield. You know what I mean? He's got to actually be in it and make mistakes. He's got to do it. And then 2 days later, he's back to washing cars. He's changed batteries in cars. Like he's doing all kinds of stuff. Whatever we need done, we get him to do it. And that way he can just seamlessly integrate in the team, right? And that guy from IBM, Watson, Thomas Watson. He was once quoted saying there was an employee of his at the time, and this was back in like the 50s. So think of how much money this is: $600,000 there was a mistake that one of the employees made in like the 50s or 60s. I don't even know what that is today, 4 million maybe, something like that. Made a huge mistake, but at the time, 600,000. They interviewed him and they said, so the employee that caused that problem, the $600,000 problem at IBM, so are you going to fire him? And he said, fire him? I just spent $600,000 training him. When you think about that, it's like, it's 600 grand. If that happens at my shop, you're probably fired. However, but you got to think the mindset there is what's important. And that's what we need to have as entrepreneurs, true entrepreneurs, is that mindset that everything that happens in your business, success or fail, is going to be a learning experience of some kind. You're going to learn something from it. You're getting data from it. That also means your employees too. As they make mistakes and you allow them to make mistakes, you allow them to try things with the chance of making a mistake, the further your entire organization is going to go. Now you can control mistakes to some degree, but you do have to also let go of the reins and let people kind of have some, free reign a bit too, I think. And so that's where I gave a lot of thought this past weekend after I saw that documentary, and I started thinking about failure. And I was like, that's where I think our mindsets need to shift to, is changing the way we look at failure and how that works. So one last thing I want to touch on, and then I'll kick it over to you, Marty, is that so another thing down the rabbit hole when I was thinking about failure, and I'm going through all these different videos of this and that. The Rolex store, I didn't even know this, but they have this concept now of a wait list where you don't just go in and buy a Rolex. You go in and you buy onto a wait list. And then they have a readiness questionnaire, and you fill that out, and it gets you, basically on this list. And then when that watch becomes available to your time on the wait list, they message you, and you have 3 days in which to make that purchase. So that's the part of the readiness questionnaire, is you've got to be ready to pull the trigger when this thing's ready, because if not, we're skipping over you and going down the wait list to the next person. And then you're going to have to wait another 6 months, maybe 7 months until you're back up on, the next number. So they've done this to create exclusivity and stuff like that, which we don't necessarily do that in our industry. I would say, ceramic coating, we're not like, oh, I've only got, I'm only doing 10 ceramic coatings in the next year. So, you better buy in 20 grand a pop. We don't really do. Well, some shops do. Anyway, that's another story. But I think that the important takeaway for me was more the wait list side of things, where usually we think of wait lists, like at our shop, we have a wait list for tint. If someone doesn't show up, we can put you on the wait list, and then we'll call you. You've got a 30-minute notice. You can come in and you get a discount because you're coming last minute. And then for us, we fill a space that would have gone empty. That's usually how we think of wait lists, right? There's the other side of things where you can check on demand in your market. So let's say you're not doing ceramic coating yet. You're just doing, standard details, things like that, and you want to get into ceramic coating, and you're about to send, Mr. Marshall Hill a message and say, hey, I need to buy some product. Let's say that's the stage you're at right now, right? So what you want to do is find out the demand that's in your area before you start running ads and paying big bucks for, Google ads and Facebook and so on and so forth. And you can do that in a few ways. And so my tip for today is to rethink how wait lists exist and think of them more as questionnaires that you can add people to a wait list without them even knowing that they're going on a wait list. And so let's say, for example, you're really big into Jeeps and you love Jeep culture. So you could start a group, for example, around Jeep culture, and then you
Absolutely.
can communicating with people in the community, and you can start asking.
And we'll just be a
questions.
part. There's plenty. You don't even have to create a new one.
That's
This
true.
is-
It's out there.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
This is what we I
Tons of-
love. Everybody that comes and talks to us about products, and I listen, being the biggest mistake of most detailers is they don't also then offer a product.
Yeah,
I mean,
you have to become a distributor.
have to,
Yeah.
have to. I mean, if you want to go next level,
Yes, that's a good point.
stay at the steering wheel if you want. Stay there if you want to.
Hey, protect.
If you want to go next level, that is part of it.
Yeah, 100%.
Is offering products to people. So yes, absolutely. Go to hypercleanstore.com and go to the contact and send in a thing about distribution. Let's have a discussion, at least a discussion about what it does for you, your business, and your customers, and your area.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's one way that you, in terms of the discussion we had earlier about becoming the most expensive shop in town, and instead reframing it as becoming the shop that offers the most quality, that's one aspect of quality, is being able to service your customers' needs in all aspects, not just at your shop, but hey, you want to also, maintain your vehicle at home as well. That's part of it, right? So,
And if anybody is curious about, well, why should you choose one company over the other when it comes to distribution? I just want to go in through this out there, right? Like just throw a hat out in the ring, as they
that's a good
say,
question, though. Yeah.
well, let's just ask of ownership to even down to management to even down to sales reps of, let's just start at who's actually been in the industry, had a detail shop, be able to work with you on some of that stuff. That's one aspect, that's one level. But then how many of them have actually been in distribution? How many of them grew a distribution company that then they used those funds to build a national brand?
Yeah.
I,
You got to think, if I wanted to get into
two,
distribution,
three, I
working with a
think
company that
I can
grew a distribution company would be ideal, because then it's like, okay, what are parts of the formula that I would need to know?
there's only so many people that are going to be able to help you through all the problems and all the struggles.
Yeah.
And like I said, at the top of my head, I'm thinking three, two, I know, three, maybe. And now hyperclean's one of them. I don't know if anybody else has done what I've done, so I have no problem. That's not just an off the clock thing. Like I can look at any ownership around and go,
Yeah, it's true. Well, me, as you know, I'm
Jeremy
very
at Shine
selective.
Supply is about the only other person I can look in the eye and say that, because he did McGuire's, which he still does, and he gained a lot of his funds off of being a McGuire's car wash distributor. So that's how he gained a lot of his stuff, which allowed him to build out all good. I don't know if there was another that was trying to pop in my head, maybe, but I don't think he ever did distribution. And that is, shoot, what's that guy? I can't think of his company name, but when I think back to his story, it was just detailer to chemical distribution and actually selling a product to somebody else. It's a whole different world that coexist, but it's also like, come on, we love the shows where, at least I do. I mean, geez, I don't know. I watched
Which one?
Guardians of the Galaxy again this weekend.
Okay, yeah.
1 and 2, and the best is when they're warping through all the different areas and they show the different characters going like rah, 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 right? Like, I mean, you can coexist, but there's a lot of warping in between and a lot of, to be able to help somebody grow a distribution. I don't
They are
I don't
different
know of
animals.
anybody else that has actually done it. Actually done that. And that's our story. That's what we did. That's what my company has done.
Absolutely. And that's where it becomes something that, like, I don't know it necessarily from the detailing side, because I, haven't had your journey, for example, but like we have a cell phone store. And so we do residential side. So for customers, they come in broken phones, or they need, I need 10 lines set up, whatever. But then we also have the wholesale side of things where we distribute devices, and we do that in 3 different countries. And so it's getting that stuff set up. Like my experience there is, it's definitely, it's like a different world. It's that was a great way to put it, actually, with the warping. That resonated quite well. But yeah, it's very much different. Well, even, if I think about it, like how I operate my shop, and then, I've coached some people along on how they can run their shop, but then with OrbisX, the questions and stuff that I get from members, like it's wildly different, because there's guys that, like, they're mobile only, and they're like, yeah, I'm only open 4 months of the year, and they're like, can you give me some advice? And I'm like, whew, man, that's a completely different world. Like, it's like, I don't know, like, I stay open more, like, I don't know why are you only open 4 months? But it's like, man, like, you see so many different spectrums of things. And so that's what I can see you would have seen with distribution, is that you're dealing with so many different markets, and especially on a national level. Like, you're dealing with different markets, different businesses, different, everything. That's that advice right there is invaluable, to be able to have, like, someone like yourself to talk to. And that's where even things like this, like doing the podcast. Like, what other companies out there? Like, you know, you're not getting paid for this. You're doing this to help people. You know what I mean? And so it's like, it's one of those things where what other companies are you going to just get free advice? And like, man, these guys, they could sign up to be a distributor and then be like, hey, Shawn and Marshall, I'm into distributing. Can you talk about XYZ next week? All right. And we'll talk about it. You know what
I mean, you get to
That's
the level of
impressive.
distribution, you need a really good CRM, don't you?
Yeah. Oh, 1,000%. Hell yeah. Yeah.
Reminder on, hey, you probably used all your foam wash, you probably used all your slick, you know, like, hey, you know, here's a reason to get
100%.
back in to get some more product.
Absolutely. And on that note, coming this summer, I know for sure by summer it's going to be ready. We're going to have something pretty amazing that's going to help out with distributors of hyperClean. I mean, let me put it that way. We're in the middle of a big server switch right now. Once that's finished, then Jeff and I are going to finalize some pieces for that, and it's going to be a game changer for a lot of you guys. Absolutely. But
Oh,
yeah, community, man. Fuck yeah.
community.
Uh-huh.
So I want to build off of last week for me.
All right.
Build off of that story and build off of that moment where it got a little, I didn't really explain everything too well. I think my mind just kind of went a little crazy. But can you put yourself into a different situation? Can you put yourself into the role of something? Can you, if we understand that we have, right, which goes back to that different emotions, different, right? And I think I said all that to kind of combat the people that would go like, but that's not me. And that was 2,000 years ago. I'm like, okay, if you're that guy, like you got to understand you have different parts of yourself, and you can, in a sense, start to separate some of them and look at specific things that you're wanting to get to the next level, man. Right? Like, there's a cost. There's a cost to this. And one of those costs was what we talked about last week was hard work.
Yeah.
Okay.
1,000%.
You can also just keep working hard and getting nowhere.
Yep.
You can tread water for a long time.
Oh yeah.
And you
just
can
keep swinging the hammer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But really, where are you going? Are you getting to the next level? All right. You can grind for a long time.
Yeah.
Are you getting to the next level? And I want to say, and it's a little bit of what we kind of talked about a second ago about this question that the guy asked. And I don't want to say it's, you got to understand that in order to be at this level, you need to think on this level.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know how to do that. What is this so confusing? You just told me last week to work. Like, okay. So when you're working, you also have to be thinking about working on another level. And like, oh gosh, how's this even happen? The way it came to me this week was my wife wants a new house. Hey, it's not a great time in the market and the industry and everything, like economy, but okay, like it will happen, right? Like she wants it. It's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen. Yeah, exactly. So it's gonna happen. That's why I ended up in this house. That's it.
For me, it hasn't happened yet because I didn't see myself there.
Okay, yeah.
I enjoy my house. I built it a long time ago, and I put things into it, and the way I did stuff, it was because that's what I enjoyed. So I haven't really put myself in the mindset, or I haven't envisioned myself somewhere else.
Yeah. Okay. I see. Yeah.
Until the other day, I was tying my shoe. Right? But sitting in my chair, I'm leaning down, tying my shoe. I'm looking at my floor.
Yeah.
And so I go, oh, you know, what if we had, and then what happened?
Now your mind.
Yes. So it's almost like this. And this is what I love about Apple's new VR. They've really honed in on the ability to see in the VR as well as see what else is going on in the world.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
You go watch a YouTube, and this is where they show it's really wild. I have not yet got one, so I can't comment on the actual, but I've just watched people to explain it, and then they'll put like the camera in there and they're trying to show like it's really cool
Yeah. Yeah.
to have inside of this screen things. But then they say if somebody walks up, you can actually start to see them. And then there's a part of it where you can visually see them, and you see some of their characteristics as well as what you're seeing here in the VR.
Yeah.
Now, take that idea to bending down to tie your shoes and looking at floors. And I go, I want this floor.
Yeah. So even though you're looking at what's in front of you, you're also seeing.
Yeah. And I start going, okay, what about when I'm tying my shoe? I have this really nice, there's specific wood that I've seen in some people's house where I go, man, I'd always love to have that wood. That's just a good looking wood floor.
Yeah.
So I envisioned and it wasn't like I forced myself. It was like that character walked up in the YouTube video about Apple explaining that, and it just starts happening in your subconscious. To where then you can go, hey, I'm tying my shoe, but then what would it look like if I'm tying my shoe next to this wood floor? Then the next thing I want to see is this giant, big tiled, like.
Yeah.
And so then I start seeing that.
Yeah.
Right. And then I start seeing the other things in the house that I want to be. And now what am I doing? I'm implanting things in my mind that in our subconscious will play out. The same as the guy that I talked about. Hey, if you don't really believe that you have high quality products, it's going to come out in your subconscious.
Yeah. And people will just know. It's like it's true.
The same then way you've got to implant into your subconscious the great things that you want, the great things that you do have, or the products that, right, for that. Maybe it's, okay, I want to envision getting a high quality product. Yeah. We've done it with wine, right? Like we talk about this. How much do you spend on wine? I mean, we started at $10, $12 for a bottle of wine because we didn't know what we were doing. And there's no way we were going to spend all this big stuff, right? We had to figure out what we wanted. But as we've grown into the style of wine that we like, we begin to spend a little bit more per bottle.
Yeah.
And now my wife almost doesn't even drink. And this is, as a Brazilian, not drinking beer. What?
Yeah.
I mean, she is almost fine-tuned herself to, we found these $25 or plus, some in the 20. We've got a couple of them that we pick and choose from, when this store or that store. And it's like starting to find these wines that are really now hitting our palate. And what would it be like? And we said this, what's it going to be like to buy that $200? I mean, $200 for a bottle of wine. Like, I get it. And I still I don't really anticipate having, but this was the envisioning part with her.
Yeah.
We have a house that has a cellar that has a built-in wine cabinet, right? 100%. So we're starting to piece together what we want, and then we will work hard to get there.
Exactly.
Right? Is this how you set a goal? People are always like, set a goal, and you go, okay.
Yeah.
For me, it's envision.
I was about to say, I think you set a mindset.
I've got to put myself there so I'll really know in my subconscious what I want. And then I have zero issues working hard. I have a problem with so many people saying and putting up with bullshit. Working hard doesn't necessarily mean how hard you scrub the carpet or, how your skill set of polishing paint. That's not necessarily working hard.
It's true.
It's not. You can pay somebody $20 an hour, or $30 an hour, or $40 an hour to do that.
It's true. Yeah.
The hard work actually comes into envisioning things and then putting up with the bullshit that it takes to get there.
Yeah. then that's a big one. It's,
That's the
you
big
know,
one.
when it comes to like the working hard thing versus like working smart and working in a just better frame of mind and towards your actual goals. My mom always said it best when I was a kid, because my mom was always the business one. My dad he was a high school teacher, and so he was more just the 9 to 5 kind of thing. My mom was always self-employed, and she used to always tell me when I was first starting getting into business, she said, "Listen, one thing you have to remember is not everything cooks best with high heat."
Hmm.
And I was like, huh? Like I didn't really understand until like problems started happening, where I'd be like, oh, I'm just going to work an extra, tomorrow I'm going to work 18 hours instead, and that'll make the job better, and it grinding hard didn't necessarily equate to a better lifestyle, to more revenue, to a better business. It, that wasn't the formula. Something was missing, and there's people that grind and make a decent business, but they don't necessarily mean they're happy, and it doesn't mean the business is where it could be or should be if they work differently. And I think that's the thing, is when you say, like, not everybody wants to get to the next level. Those that do, you really do have to put yourself in that mindset,
A lot of
and
people
that's what you
enjoy
have
the
to do.
grind. They celebrate
It's
the
true. Some
grind. They
people, yeah,
brag about the grind, and
I've
all
seen
good.
that. Yeah. So
No issues there.
it's like,
You
do your thing.
enjoy the
Do your thing.
grind, so stay grinding.
Yeah.
But a
But
grinder's not the next level guy.
no, definitely not. Definitely not. And that's where, like, even me, like, I put in a lot of work with OrbisX, but the goal was eventually have people come in and do the parts of the business that I don't enjoy or don't excel at, and have them take over those pieces. In the beginning, it was a project. It was just, okay, I'm going to take on all the roles because I don't know what this thing is yet or where it's going. But then as I said, okay, well, I see the next level where I want to be, where I want the company to be. That means I have to bring in certain people. That means I have to delegate certain things. And it also means I have to change the things that I do throughout a day,
That's all
And
the
so,
bullshit, right?
yes, absolutely. And that's where, man, and it's like, there's days that are harder than others, and there's days that are just wonderful,
We call it bullshit because it's not the things you really love to do.
Yes, exactly. It's in the fuck it column.
Can you eat shit?
Yeah,
Can you deal with bullshit
yeah,
long enough to really achieve what you want?
exactly. And sometimes you gotta, stick it out. Sometimes you got to just be in the trenches, or like deal with some shit you don't want to deal with. It's kind of like when we started Auto World. My wife and I were down there cleaning cars, and at the time, like, we were independently wealthy. We didn't have to work, and a lot of our friends looking at us like, "Fuck are you guys doing? Why are you guys cleaning cars? You're like cleaning someone's vomit from Saturday night out of a vehicle. And there's me and my wife, and like, she's far prettier than I am, and she's down there, like, just got her nails done. She's still in there cleaning, and it was
Oh
we
man, you got that wave going up there. You're getting there. Looking good.
thanks, man. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, yeah. It's I'm doing my thing. But thanks. Yeah. It's the bison vodka. That's what it is. It's coming out in my pores. But so the bison piss. So we were down there working our asses off though, but it wasn't because we saw what the business was that day. Everyone that came there, they saw, oh, you don't even have a sign. The inside's not even painted. Oh, there's not even a thing on the wall to like hang mats, and there's not this and there's not that. They saw everything that wasn't there, because for them, what they saw was just a job. They saw a grind. What we saw was a vision. We could already see multiple bays, staff just moving around like bumblebees, everybody working together, just a buzz going on. We could see that from that empty building. And a lot of other people came in there and they didn't see it. And there were some people that in the beginning we took on and we said, listen, you can manage this whole place. You could be the boss. You could run everything. We're going to step back and you manage employees and stuff. And oh, thanks, this is a great opportunity. And they pissed it away because they didn't share that same vision of what it was going to be. They saw what was today. And so they were like, fuck this company. That's all it's going to be. And so then 2 months later, they move on to something else and everything. And now those same people submitted resumes again. It's like, no, you had your shot. Thanks. No, he said, if I couldn't make you smile back then, I'm not going to make you smile today. You know what I mean? And so we just move on. But we saw that vision because we put ourselves in that mindset. And so that's where it takes a certain type of person sometimes, but sometimes it just takes you turning yourself into that person that, you know, says, okay, where do I see myself going? Where do I truly want to go? It's really an honest conversation with yourself, and then just saying, okay, and then you got to believe it. You gotta say, okay, fuck. So I want that new house with the new floors, you know. So what do I have to do to get there? That's when you start to work hard, but it's not grinding. Because to me, grinding is purposeless in a sense. Like it's just you're just spinning your wheels, you're grinding your gears, you know, you're just
Treading
plateaued.
water.
Exactly. Yeah. But if you're climbing, that's where you see the vision,
Bingo.
you see the steps you have to take, and you're calculating, okay, I got to step here first, then here, then here. You might slip and fall down a few steps, but you know where you're going. So as long as you're confident and your compass is pointed in that direction, nothing's going to stop you.
Absolutely. It's a great way of saying it. Oh.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks, man. There we go. See, that's what happens when you drink bison piss. See, commercial right there, baby. That's it. Truly is delicious, though. Yeah,
Take your word for it.
Canadians, you know.
I
what
don't
mean?
need
Fuck,
some buy
man.
some screwdom in my mouth. I'm good.
Yeah, yeah. It was just the tip. It's fine, just to see how it feels. Oh, Jesus, man.
Well, he's in the backyard still waiting for you, Shawn. So I guess I better let you go.
Yeah,
enjoy-
thanks. I gotta go milk a cow. See. Well, appreciate you as always, Marty. We'll see you next week, guys. Definitely take him up on that offer, man. Reach out, sign up to be a distributor. That's how you can get the next, start to put yourself in that mindset of where to go next. I don't partner with many people, as you know, and so by me continuously working with Marshall and also, you know, hyperClean car care products, there's a reason behind that, and absolutely. So we do have some big things coming. Without giving away too much, there will be the opportunity for everyone that's involved in the OrbisX project to become a distributor of some kind, at the very least to be able to resell products to your customers and have a full-blown shopping cart experience built in automatically, or I should say auto-magically for you. Pretty awesome. There we go. See? It's the bison pit, man. I'm telling you. It's the bison. Terrible. Oh my God. Okay. On that note, I'm gonna go get some ice. But I'll see you next week. Appreciate you, community.
We'll community.
Cheers.
See you.